Hey everyone, it's Rylee with Red Letter Talk. Like usual, wait until people get on and then we'll get started. I'm a minute past, forgive me. Let me just turn to where I'll be for today. Hi Ruth. It says that there's two. I don't see the other person, but hello to whoever. Now three. All right, I'll take maybe one more minute. So I'll be in Matthew 5 today. Hi Scott. Okay, so I'm just gonna get started. I'll be in Matthew 5. Hi Daisy. Hello Pastor Rick. Okay, so for the past few months, we have been doing with Red Letter Talk, which a lot of you know, but if you don't, is the words of Jesus and what he said. And I was just kind of going through that. So the last few months, we've been talking about the healings and miracles that Jesus has done. And yes, there's a lot more that I haven't covered, but just praying about it. Hi, Bill. Just praying about it just felt a new direction. And hi, Pam. That honestly, oh yes, they're in Chattanooga. And something that honestly, if I can be honest on here, which I feel like I can, is I didn't really want to do this. I knew that at some point that I would be going through it, but really feel like how important these are. So, we're on their new thing, which is I'm going to go through, and it's probably going to take a little bit because it's a lot, is the Beatitudes. So it's the Sermon on the Mount and what Jesus said. Because again, the words that he said and the guidance that he gave us and what that looks like. And so we're going to go through a little bit. Hi, Mary Beach. Okay, so it's Matthew 5, verse 1. But now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him and began to teach them. And he began to teach them. Yes, he said, sorry, got confused. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are, before I start actually, is, with what he's saying is a lot against what the world is telling them to do, and what the world tells us now what to do is the opposite of this. And so when I read these, honestly, if you can, just close your eyes and just listen to the words of how profound these really are. Because I know for me growing up, I would read these. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But when you really read it, it's just amazing. But, okay, so blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness. Hi, my son. Sorry. Okay, blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So there's a lot to unpack in this. But I love how Jesus is telling them the ways to live their life. And, we're kind of like a code of ethics, a standard for all believers of showing them the way. And that's what I love about Jesus, is that he tells us, things that we need to do, but how to do those things. And so this is, definitely one where these things that, Jesus never said that we were going to have a cushy, great life, that nothing happens. And knowing, a lot of the fate of the disciples and what happened to them, I don't think they would say that they lived these, easy, cushy lives. They, a lot of them, most of them died horrific deaths. Yes, it's so close to the way, yeah, it's true. And I just love how, Jesus explains, these things that happen to you, great or is the reward in heaven. And I think that's something to remember when things happen and things that happen to Christians and, the reward in heaven. And I don't know, for me personally, the one that I just love is blessed are the, and we need to do all these, and these are all important, but the one that sticks out to me is the blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. And I think it's so true when our hearts are pure before God that it, I don't know, just that purity and that, hi Sharon. And so I think that's a lot of, I don't know. I'm just reading, make sure I have everything down. And, they're not a multiple choice. So it's not like, oh, I'll pick to do these things. It's all of them. Hi, Michelle. It's all these things that we need to do and how to do them. And I love that this is what Jesus talks to us about, to be these things, to be meek, full of mercy and pure in heart and peacemakers, and the blessings that come from that, that, and we might never feel that way on earth. You know what I mean? Like we might never feel those blessings or get those blessings on earth, but in heaven, the blessings of, doing the right thing. And that's something that honestly God has been talking to me a lot about, is the integrity of doing the right thing even when A, it's really hard, and A, when B, when nobody's looking, and what that looks like to live a life of, because God's always watching and always knows. And I'm trying to debate if I want to go further. Yes, I'm going to read a little bit more. But in verse 13 through 16, it also says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on the hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Gosh, it's just so good. And another thing, is Jesus encouraging us as Christians to not hide away our faith and hide away the light, but also to have it be shown. And, I've talked a lot about that through these series of how is that done and how do we, how do we do that? That there are times that we speak the truth and speak things, and there's other times where we're just supposed to show it and just supposed to show our faith. And in those different times, and this is a little different, but when I was in Papua New Guinea, I think I've shared this story before, so sorry if you've heard it before, but when I was in Papua New Guinea, we were in this place called the Jetty. And that was our focus was that our YWAM base in Australia was planting another base, and it was in this huge building. And so we would go there a lot, and, it was nighttime, and we had 2, giant lamps just, shining through. And then we had, a small little light, flashlight that was shining, and it was barely seen, right? And a lot of the times how God talks to me is kind of funny, because it's when I'm already thinking something that I feel like has nothing to do with, I get distracted, and God's so good because he's able to just use those times. So I remember looking at the little flashlight, and I was like, this flashlight's doing nothing. I don't understand why it's in here. If I was the flashlight, I would be ashamed to shine, I'm just thinking stupid things. And again, I felt the Holy Spirit just say, bring the flashlight to the bathrooms. And, in this place that we were at, there was no electricity yet. There's nothing. It was pretty gross in there. It was all unusable. And so I felt like I was supposed to bring it in there. And so I brought the little flashlight, and it lit up the whole room. It was the value of the flashlight, how am I supposed to word this? So the value of the flashlight, I thought that because it was shining with the big ones, that it wasn't making a difference. But really, if you put it in a smaller area where there was no light, how much of a difference that made. And I felt like God was speaking to me, and because he's brought it up 3 times, so I know that, when he brings up something more than once, you gotta really listen to it. Because I felt like sometimes for me as a Christian, I would spend most of my time with which is not bad, but just pouring only into Christians. I would feel a little, not useless, but just that there could be more. And I felt like God was saying to me in that time of, listen, your light is shining, but it's with all these other lights. And where you need to go is where there's no light. You need to go where there's darker places. And I felt like that was a calling that he put on me then, or just explained to me, was, it doesn't mean that, your light's not shining. It just might not look like it, around other people, and to go to the dark of places where nobody's willing to go. And I think that's so important for all of us, is that, it's great that, having a preacher and having such a good pastor as Pastor Rick, but also he can't be at all the places that you guys can be, and all the places that you are at work and at home, and different things that you are a light there, and just how much in the darkness that God has put you in a place to shine your light to, that and being, yeah, I just felt like I just had to encourage that even if it doesn't always look like it, doesn't mean that you aren't shining the light. And sometimes it's when, I don't know, just random times that you get to see the fruit of that. But I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah, just that encouragement of, the things that he's asking us to do are hard things. And going back to, blessed are, all these things, they're not easy, because if they're easy, then we would all do it all the time. You know what I mean? If it was just I don't know, if it was easy all the time to do these things, we would just do it. But it's, in times where you're not getting along with someone, or there's a problem at work, or there's, something happening, and it's choosing that, because God can't make you, and he never would, but it's our decision to make, and choosing these things, even though, and Jesus said it, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all these evil against you because of me. And he's really saying this to his disciples. And I just love that even though he knew what was going to be in store to them, telling them, like, blessed are you, that these things that you have no idea yet, but telling them this, and rejoice and be glad because great is your reward in heaven. And so the next few weeks or so, we'll see. It's just going to be on the Beatitudes and really how this sets up. This sets up his ministry and what he's done. And something too, I read about this. No, I listened to a podcast about this, and then I was reading through too. And something to remember, which this is, especially if you're on the side of, just becoming a Christian or different things, these teachings, especially, the Beatitudes and going forward, there's a lot of tough things in here that he does say, like, what is sin and what's not. And, one of the hardest talks, this is the difficult things that he says about lust and revenge and, all these things that he really goes into detail. But, however, after he gave this speech and after he said all these things, one of the next things he does is he goes down and heals, people, and he hangs out with the sinners. So, yes, there are a foundation of things that he is teaching us to be, but also he is so loving and so merciful, and that even though, it's such a hard teaching, his heart is for, the sinners and for us. And so and I think that's why, because I'm I just want to talk about all the awesome things and not the hard things sometimes, but I think it's so good because that really is part of God's heart too, is that he wants us to live a life that for us too, it's not for him, but for us to live a life, because when we live and do these things that he's asking us to do, I don't know, just so much better our lives are, our integrity, our, hearts, and I don't know, it's just so good. And so, thank you all for watching, and I'm excited about the next few weeks. I will not be here next week. Unfortunately, we won't have red letter talk next week because we'll be in Arizona. But the next week, we will really dive into the Beatitudes and the Sermon on the Mount. So I'm excited, but I'm going to pray us out. But thank you guys for watching. But Lord, I just want to thank you for each individual that is just listening, Lord. And I just pray for everyone that is listening, God, that you would highlight to them this week, I don't know, one thing that they can work on, Lord, one of the Beatitudes that I know there's some that I struggle with that I need to really depend on you for, and really remember to do those things. Lord, I just pray that you would show us the ways that we can be better in those ways, and also affirm the things that we are doing as well, God, that you are also a God of encouragement, that you are also an encourager, Lord. And so I just pray that you would encourage the places where we are living out the Beatitudes, that we are living out what you have asked us to do, Lord, and that we would strive to be even better, God, that we strive not for anyone but you, Lord, that we just want to, for myself, I just want to love you the best that I can, and I want to love people here the best that I can. And so I just pray that I would be following your teachings, following what you have asked us to do, and not lightly, Lord, but really take on what you have asked, Lord. And I just pray all these things in your name. Amen. All right. Thank you guys, and I will see you next week.